Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Bolo Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. All together. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvasesha Shunyavadi Paschachari Shatadine Vansha Kopaterubhyascha Bolo Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Shri Govinda Gopinata Madana Moha Shri Govinda Gopinata Madana Moha Shri Govinda Gopinata Madana Moha Madana. Then by myself Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana. All together, bolo Jaya Radhe Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Madhavananda. Jaya Radhe Kishigata Bangsi Bhakta Dwadasakana Jaha Shabalila Koilo Shinanda Nanda Shinanda Nanda Radhe Jaya Krishna Kishigata Bangsi Bhakta Dwadasakana Jaha Shabalila Koilo Srinanda Nanda Srinanda Nanda Jaya Shinanda Jasoda Jaya Jaya Gopagan Sridhamari Jaya Jaya Venu Vatsagan Venu Vatsagan Banu Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Abhiranagari Ka Vatu Dvijaraj. Radhe Jaya Rama Gata Jaya Rohini Nandan Gata Jaya Rohini Nandan Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Vasi Jata Jaya Vasi Jata Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Krishna Vrindavana Jaya Dvija Patni Jaya Naga Kanya Gan Naga Kanya Gan Bhakti Teja Hara Pailo Govinda Charan Govinda Charan Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana Radhe Krishna Rasaman Dala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyam Dala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyam Shri Rasaman Dala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyam Shri Rasaman Dala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyam Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Sarva Manoram Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Sarva Manoram Jaya Jaya Jvala Rasa Sarva Rasa Sa Parakiya Bhave Jaha Brajete Pracha Brajete Pracha Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana Radhe Jaya Krishna Janava Pada Padma Koriya Smaran Pada Padma Koriya Smaran Hina Krishna Dasa Kohe Nama Sankirtan Nama Sankirtan Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana Radhe Krishna Vrindavana Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Jaya Vrindavana. Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madhana Shri Govinda Gopinatha Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madhana Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Kunda Giri Govardhan. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Jaya Vrindavana. Srila Prabhupada ki. Shri Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki, Nan Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Radhakun Shamakun Giri Govardhana ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki, Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki, Ganga Mai Jamuna Mai ki, Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gop Premanandi Hari Hari, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So I'd like to read something from Bhagavad Gita. I don't think you have books here, but maybe you have on your smartphone or something. Smartphones are good for certain things. So you can recite the Mangalacharna together. Om Jnanatimidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lilita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 You can give to someone else. Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, text number 4, and we may read a few verses after this also. If you have a book, you can respond. This is a very nice verse. Dambho dharpo bhimanascha. Dambho dharpo bhimanascha. Krodha parushameva cha. Krodha parushameva cha. Agyanam jabijatasya. Agyanam chabijatasya. Partha sampadam asurim. Partha sampadam asurim. I'm just going to read the translation and the purport because we'll read a few verses. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, the son of Pritha. Prabhupada's purport. In this verse, the royal road to hell is described. The demoniac who want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual science, want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual science, although they do not follow the principles. They're always arrogant or proud and possessing some type of education or so much wealth. They desire to be worshipped by others and demand respectability, although they do not command respect. Over trifles, they become very angry and speak harshly, not gently. They do not know what should be done and what should not be done. They do everything whimsically according to their own desire, and they do not recognize any authority. These demoniac qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies and the wombs of their mothers, and as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities. Goragraganya gana gotra goloruharam Goranga gudatama gopyada kopa briksham Gopala gada ratidam yati singha gora Govinda deshi kavaram satatam namami. So, Srila Prabhupada describes in his purport here the nature of people who have a demoniac tendency. And it sounds very, very harsh because pretty much it would be 99.999% of the world, I think, today. It doesn't mean that they have horns on their head or they're like Hiranyakashipu or Hiranyaksha, but it means that they're Bahirmukh Janas. It means they're turned away from the Lord. Whereas saintly persons are Antarmukh Janas. They're facing toward the Lord. They have some interest in it. Prabhupada says the nature of demoniac persons is they want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual science, although they do not follow the principles. This is the nature of the world today. No one cares about your character, and they'll just say anything. If you're a politician, then people know you have to say anything, otherwise you can't get elected to office. If you're a school teacher, you may be acting like a very pious person, but then there's so many scandals amongst the school teachers. If you're a religious person and you're teaching young children, and we've had this problem in our society, and also we see it in the Catholic Church and many different churches, some demoniac things have also gone on, but persons are presenting themselves like they're very, very saintly. So it's a nature in the material world that everyone wants to get some respect. Somehow or other, I have to get some respect by the way that I dress, by the kind of girlfriend that I have, by the education that I have, by the kind of car I drive, the kind of camera that I have, the kind of phone that I have, the computer that I have, the way I cut my hair, the way that I talk, the way I hold myself. Everyone is looking for some respect. But as Krishna describes in this chapter, in text 16, he describes that those persons who try to, I'm thinking another one. No, text 16. He says, Aneka chitta vipranta, moha jala samabrita. Because they're trying to get some respect from everyone. They're trying to get some fame. The result is oneka chitta vibranta. Chitta means anxiety. One of Lord Shiva's names in Braj is Chitteshwar Mahadev, because he was worshipped by Mother Yashoda, because that lady had a lot of anxiety. Her son, we were just hearing this morning, her son, sometimes Krishna and Balaram, as soon as they could go out to walk, they would see some big bulls come running toward them. And Krishna and Balaram would see how close they could run in front of the bulls and see if they could grab their horns. The boys could barely walk. And Mother Yashoda was nearly having a heart attack every day, all day long. So she was worshiping Chintahara Mahadev. Chinta means anxieties, or Chitta. Chitta also means the heart. Those things which we're always meditating on. Oneka Chitta Vibranta. Vibranta means, Prabhupada gives here, to be perplexed. They're always perplexed by oneka, unlimited numbers of different anxieties. And moha jala samabrita. They're bewildered, completely bewildered by illusion. So, when we speak about this topic we have in front of us tonight, the ecstasy of insignificance, really a good subtitle for it is the happiness through reality. Understanding what is reality and living in reality. But the problem is we don't want to live in reality. We want to imagine that I'm a very, very amazing person. I'm so special in this way or that way. As we give the example sometimes, you look at all the movies that are coming, and there's a film of some guy with very big muscles, takes a lot of steroids, and he's got very big guns, and he goes and shoots it out with everybody, and even though they have Air Force jets trying to destroy him and atom bombs and all kinds of things, still somehow he's unscathed by it all. But the same movie actor, a week after the movie finishes, he dies of a cold. Or he slips and falls down the steps and breaks his leg or something. Our bodies are actually so very, very fragile. But we create this illusion. We want to be like that, like James Bond or some movie hero who's indestructible, because everyone wants to be indestructible. And we think, we equate happiness with becoming famous, with getting respect. Srila Prabhupada writes in the Nectar Devotion, he says, anyone who has any desire or aspiration for satisfying his senses by becoming more and more important, either in the material sense or in the spiritual sense, cannot actually relish the really sweet taste of devotional service. This is a really important thing. Why is it that in this world, especially in America, people are not interested in organized religion? Many times we have a group of devotees, we can ask all of you, before you came to Krishna consciousness, how many of you really liked organized religion? Other than Beam, I'm sure you must have really... You ask 1,000 people in the streets of Boston, maybe 2 might say, I like organized religion. Maybe less than that, I think. So people, they don't like organized, and why is that? Many people, they like some religion, but they don't like organized religion. Is it that they like disorganized religion? Is that better? No, it's that people don't like hypocrites. It burns their heart up. It disturbs people very, very much. And because people, they use religion many times to become famous, to become a big, big person. People couldn't be a big person in the material world. They were just a skinny nerd in high school, so then they join the Hare Krishna movement and they can take sannyas. I can give classes and everybody's going to be impressed with me. As one devotee once told me some years ago, she said that, Madhavananda, you have to think about your career in ISKCON. I don't want to think about my career in ISKCON. But there's 2 different types of people who practice spiritual life. One of them is the Bahirmukh Janas, or external persons. And their bhajan, Jiva Goswami says, is Sakaitava bhajan. It's cheating. They're not really worshiping Krishna. They're leading the kirtan and looking back. Is she watching? That beautiful girl, is she paying attention to what I'm doing? My grandma said, it's not Krishna Kirtan, that's Maya Kirtan. You're not doing it for the pleasure of Krishna. You're doing it for some self-aggrandizement and for something else. And this is a reason why most people practice some kind of religion, so they can get some respect, some appreciation for that. And people naturally become very, very disgusted by that. And it's not attractive to the heart. But we see that people, real practitioners of spiritual life, they hide their spiritual life. Gopayad Nija Malakam. It's described in Sattva Tantra, in Hari Bhakti Vilas. It said this, that one should hide their bhajan, hide their mala. Don't advertise that. In the Bible, it says that if you give charity with your right hand, your left hand shouldn't know what you're doing. And if we have that kind of mood, where I'm not trying to advertise myself, I'm not trying to be a big person, then there's some ecstasy in that. It's just the opposite of what we think in the material world. In the material world, we think, well, if I can just become famous, then it'll be the perfection of life if I'm just on television. Sometimes you see they have some newscast person in downtown, and they're speaking something about the news, and some people are walking by and they're going like this because, hey, Mom, did you see me? And they go, see, I was on the news tonight. People become, that's like the success of their life. It's such a sad thing. But it's just the opposite. We think that we're going to get more and more happiness through becoming more and more famous, through getting more and more material respect. But all that happens is you get unlimited unhappiness. And we see, so somebody wins the lottery. There's one man, he wrote a book about lottery winners. Very interesting thing. And what happened to them after they won the lottery. And there was one man, he went to his house, and a few years after he won the lottery, and it was very interesting, he had a number of cars parked in the driveway, and there was a horse. He had a small house, but he had a horse in front of the house, and the horse was real skinny, didn't look very well. And he went inside the house, and the house was full of like pinball machines and electronic game machines. The guy had spent all of his money on this horse. I always wanted a horse, but he didn't know how to take care of a horse. He got all these cars, he didn't know how to take care of the cars. He got all these pinball machines, and he couldn't take care of them. And his house was just a bunch of garbage. Another person they interviewed some years after he won a few $1 million in the lottery, and he became very famous, and he was so happy when he won the lottery. A few years later, they went back to him and said, so, what's your experience? And he said, it was the worst thing that ever happened in my life. I wish it had never happened to me. He said, all of a sudden, people are knocking on my door 24 hours a day. Hey, Fred, remember me? We were in 2nd grade together in school. Hey, long time no see. You know, could you lend me some money? And everybody wants gifts. His house had been broken into like 15 different times with people trying to steal things from him. His daughter became a drug addict. His wife took so much money and she ended up leaving him and divorcing him. And his life used to be pretty simple and pretty happy. But he became completely disturbed and completely unhappy when he got this fame, this fame and this wealth, which he thought was going to give him so much satisfaction. But it didn't give him any satisfaction. And so we see there's a principle amongst great devotees, amongst devotees of the Lord in general. They want to hide themselves. And Narottam Das Thakur, he sings this. He says that don't advertise your bhajan. Don't tell people what you're doing in your spiritual life. And a wonderful example is of Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami wanted to join the Hare Krishna movement. He wanted to run away and be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? That's pretty good. But he had a wife. He had parents. His parents were devotees already. Hiranya and Govardhan, Majumdara, his uncle and his father. They were both great devotees. Practically they were supporting all the devotees in their hometown. And Raghunath Das Goswami wanted to leave home. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he told him, don't be a mad person. Don't strive for this thing. Let's see if we can sing this. You can chant Hare Krishna in response. Stirahana kare jao nahao vatula krame krame pai loka bhava sindhu kula. Bolo Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Stira hanagara. You be stira. You be steady and go home. He said, Nahao batula. Don't be a mad person. Don't be crazy. Krami krami paya loka bhava sindhu kula. By and by, you'll be able to cross the ocean of material existence. And he told him, Antarnishta bahir vyavahar. Antarnishta bahir vyavahar. On the inside, you practice one thing. And on the other side, outside, you practice another. There's a nice story in this regard we tell sometimes that there was one man who went to an Ayurvedic doctor. He had a problem. He had a bad itch, rash on his skin. And he was also coughing up blood. So he went to the Ayurvedic doctor. The doctor took his pulse, looked at his eyes, and the doctor told him, he said, the skin rash is not so bad. The cough is very serious. He said, I'll give you two kinds of medicine, some white pills and some red pills. And the white pills, you crush those, mix them with some ghee, and rub that under your skin. And the red pills, after your meal, you take them with some hot water. He said, so remember, the white pills are for the outside and the red pills are for the inside. So the fellow said, I got it, doc. White pills are for the outside and red. And he's walked away. White is for the inside and red is for the outside. I got it. And he got it just opposite. And the story has a very sad conclusion because he got home and he took the white pills on the inside and the red pills he rubbed into his skin, and a few days later, he died. So the story is an allegory that if we just pay attention to the outside, we try to show off our spiritual life. We wear the red on the outside, we wear the renunciation on the outside, but we hide the white, which is on the inside, then everything's going to be problematic. Rather, our life will be peaceful and happy if we do the opposite of that. We wear the white on the outside. We look like a common person. And that's necessary in this world. It's a very, very difficult place to live and be a devotee at the same time. So for devotees, they prefer to hide themselves. They don't want to advertise. Just like there's a nice story of Tulsidas, that he was doing his puja every day. He was bathing his deities, and he was taking the Charnamrita and throwing it on a tree. And after some days, that tree became very pleased with him. It wasn't just an ordinary tree. You wouldn't have recognized it. It looked like just a tree. Nobody pays much attention to trees. But the tree spoke to him and said that you've really done me a great service, putting Charnamrita on me. What can I do for you? And Tulsidas said, well, I'd like to have darshan of Lord Ramachandra. Tree said, I can't do that, I'm sorry. I can't arrange that. He said, but I can help you to get that. He said, every day, not far from here, there's some Ram Leela that's going on. And there's one really, really old sadhu. He's the first person who comes, and he's the last person to leave. That old sadhu is actually Hanuman. And you go to him, and he can satisfy your desire. So Tulsidas went to that Ram Katha, and he saw, sure enough, the first person that came, there was a really, really old, ugly-looking sadhu, very ugly-looking person. And after everybody left, that sadhu was the last person to leave. And Tulsidas grabbed his lotus feet and said, hey, I know who you are. You're actually Hanuman. Please, please, give me darshan to Lord Ram. And the old man was saying, what are you doing? Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Go away. What are you crazy? No, 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 I know who you are. No, no, no. What, did you leave me alone? No, no, I know who you are. And finally, that old man revealed him that he was actually Hanuman. And Hanuman gave him the blessing. He had darshan of Lord Ramachandra. So we don't pay so much attention to trees. We may not pay so much attention to old people who come to something, to some program, but there's some happiness in being insignificant. There's happiness in serving the Lord without wanting to have a lot of perks, a lot of things in exchange from that. There's a nice story that we heard, happened about 100 years ago in Vrindavan. Some Brijbasi Brahmin told me this story, that there was one scholar who was speaking regularly on the Bhagavad, and many different people were coming to hear from him. He was quite a good speaker. And there was also one really strange fellow who was coming. We have this problem sometimes in our Hare Krishna temples, especially I think in Boston, especially in New York or in Los Angeles. You have some people coming in from the street who have some mental illness, and they haven't taken a bath in a long time. So this fellow looked like that, long hairs, and looked real crazy, hadn't taken a bath in a few months or something. And when he would come in and sit down, everybody would get up and move away from him. And sometimes people saw him, he was sleeping on the street. Once someone saw him eating off the ground with some dogs. The dogs are eating and he's eating next to with the dogs. Keep away from this guy, a very strange fellow. And one day, that sadhu, the scholar who was giving the classes, he was going into the temple of Gopishwar Mahadev. And as he was going into the temple, that he suddenly saw that crazy fellow was coming out. And so, just on a whim, he stopped him. He said, "Hey, what are you doing anyway? Why do you live on the street? You don't have anywhere to go? Where are you from?" And that fellow began to speak to him, and much to the scholar's surprise, the person was very articulate. He said, "I come from such and such village, a very well-to-do village." He said, "What kind of family are you from?" "Well, I come from a Sarasvat Brahmin family, very high-class Brahmin family." He said, "Do you have any education?" He said, "Yeah, I have a master's degree in science." He said, "Man, what are you doing? Looking like this, living on the street, hanging out with the dogs?" And then, perhaps by the desire of Krishna, that crazy-looking fellow said something that normally he might not say. Kind of hung his head down. He said, "Well, if I don't act like this, I can't see Krishna." The scholar looked at him, and that person was a very learned scholar in Goswami literatures, and he asked him, "How do you see Krishna? Is it just a very quick flash and it goes away? Is it just some spurti? Or do you?" He said, No, I see him like I see you, and we talk and things, but if I don't do like this, I can't see him." So we can't understand the nature of a devotee. It's said that Vaishnava chinite nai devata shakati. Even the demigods, they can't recognize who's a devotee. Because the nature of a devotee is they want to hide themselves. They don't think that they're a big person. Rather, they want to be an insignificant person. Tanadapi sanichena tadoreva sahisrana amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. If we always want to chant, then we should have a mantra which is just the opposite of the attitude of the materialist. Where the materialists, they want to be famous, they want recognition from everyone. The Vaishnava, his nature is he wants to give respect to everyone else. And he doesn't want any respect for himself. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur describes this in Chaitanya Bhagavad. Let's see. I'll sing something else. There's a similar point made in a song by Narottam Das Thakur, which I often sing. You can chant Hare Krishna in response. Gauranga Karuna Koro Amidina Hina Jane. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, samopatita Prabhu nahi tribhuvane. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is how Narottam Das Thakur approaches Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says that Gauranga Karuna Koro, Ami Dinahina Jani. My dear Lord, please be merciful to me. I'm a very, very fallen, low person. He says, Mosamopatita Prabhu, Nahi Tribhuvani. If you do a list of everyone in Boston, everyone in America, everyone on the planet, everyone in the universe, from the highest to the lowest, my name will be on the bottom. Mosamopatita Prabhu, Nahi Tribhuvani. And all the three worlds. He says, you can't find anyone as fallen and as useless as me. This is just the opposite of material consciousness, isn't it? If you go for a job interview, and they ask you, so what are your qualifications? And you say, well, to tell you the truth, I'm the most useless person in the world. In fact, I'm the most useless person in all the three worlds. Is it a good idea, Prabhuji? What do you think? To get a job? Bad idea. So, but this is the attitude of the devotee, internally. Externally, the devotee is showing something else. Antarnishta Bahya Vyavahar. He shows one thing on the inside and another thing on the outside. On the inside, the devotee is fixed in serving Krishna. And he's feeling himself to be very, very fallen and very, very lowly. Very, very insignificant. And that attitude gives so much happiness. It's a paradoxical kind of thing. Because we think that, oh, if I lose everything, if nobody gives respect to me, then I'm going to be really, really depressed, and my life won't be worth living. Better I commit suicide, right? But in spiritual life, it's just the opposite. The more insignificant we become, the more happy we become, because then we're living in reality. Whereas when we're trying to impress everyone, we're living in some kind of fantasy, either in the material world, thinking that I'm a great connoisseur of music, I'm a great politician, I know so much about politics, when all I've been is selling real estate my whole life or something, or thinking that I'm a great devotee. Sometimes we also think like that, and we can't see our own faults. My Guru Maharaj used to say that your only qualification is your disqualification. That's the only qualification that we have. Is some nice statements in the Bible in this regard also. In the book of Matthew, it says, the virtue of a humble person is like a treasure hidden in a field. That's the nature of a spiritual person. They hide that, and they get so much happiness from that. So much happiness is there from that attitude of serving others and pushing other people forward and not trying to push themselves forward. Whereas the materialistic attitude is always to either subtly or grossly push myself forward and satisfy my own agenda. Spiritual progress is made by those persons who consider themselves very, very insignificant. And there's a kind of great happiness in that. Whereas religionists who try to, as Prabhupada was saying in Nectar Devotion, religionists who try to impress other people and get some fame through becoming more and more important, Prabhupada says, either in the material sense or in the spiritual sense, they can't actually relish the really sweet taste of devotional service. They can't relish it. And that's not what this movement's about. This movement is meant for people who want to relish, who want to experience some higher kind of happiness. And not just the dutiful feeling of that, yes, I'm religious, I've done the right thing, my parents will be pleased. I did some tarpana for my parents, I went to Gaya and I did the rituals and things for my parents. I'm a good religious person. I'm a vegetarian, my parents would want that. Once they came to Srila Prabhupada in London, and they said, Prabhupada, the London Vegetarian Society would like you to come and give a talk. And Prabhupada said, do they want to hear about Krishna, or do they want to hear about vegetarianism? I said, well, I think they want to hear about vegetarianism. And Prabhupada said, what's the value of that? He said, the rabbits are also vegetarian. What's the value of showing ourselves to be religious in some way if we don't have some taste? And therefore Krishna in the Gita, he says that Raja Vijja Raja Guyam, Pavitram Idam Uttamam, Pratyak Savagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartamavyayam. This thing which is Raja Vijja, the topmost thing, which is Raja Guyam, it's that thing which is hidden. It's the most confidential thing. Pratyak Savagamam Dharmyam. It's that dharma which is meant to be practically realized, and it's Susukam Kartamavyayam. It's full of great ecstasy and happiness. So we should understand what is Raja Vidya, and we should keep that thing Rajaguyam, confidential. Pavitram idam uttamam, we should purify ourselves. But Pratyak Savagamam Dharmyam, we should practice it, keeping it confidential. And if we do like that, then Susukam Kartamavyam, we feel great happiness. There's a nice example of this in Catholicism with one saint, Saint Gemma. She was born in Italy. She was a young lady. She passed away maybe at the age of 24. And although she's not in our tradition, we can say some very good things about her and see some very good things in her life. Saint Gemma, she realized at a young age, like in her teens, that there's no point in taking up material life, and that God is everything and there's nothing without Him. And so she dedicated herself to her spiritual practices. And one day, her mentor, who was a Father Germanus, he decided to test her humility. And so he told her, when Gemma was telling the Father about her prayers, the Father told her, he said, Gemma, why would Jesus want to dirty himself with a cesspit? You know what a cesspit is? It's not a nice thing. Cesspool means that if you're on a ranch or something and you have an outhouse and all the stool and urine goes into an underground chamber, that's a cesspit. So he said, why would Jesus want to dirty himself with a cesspit? That's Gemma. He said that to test her. And as soon as he said that, immediately Gemma, she broke out in a huge smile. It was a life-changing moment for her. She found so much happiness because in those words of that Father, she thought, yes, this is the prayer that I want. This is my identity. And from that point on, whenever she would pray, Dear Jesus, why do you want to dirty yourself with the cesspit that is Gemma? And she identified herself in that way. Similarly, Haridas Thakur, also in Jagannath Puri, in Harinam Chintamani, Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes his words. Amita Adama Tumi Adama Tarana Ubaye Sambanda E Patita Pavana Bola Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Haridas Thakur, he said that Amita Adama, Tumi Adama Tarana. I know who I am and I know who you are. I'm fallen. I'm the most insignificant person. And I know who you are. Tumi Adama Tarana. You're the deliverer of the fallen. Ubaye Sambande. This is our connection. I'm fallen, and you're the deliverer of the fallen. But if we're living in an illusion, and we're thinking, everything's fine, everything's all right, I'm perfectly happy. Of course, I'll probably die within 8 or 10 years, maybe a couple years, but let's not talk about that. Just like Stamba Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada's disciple, he related a story that I always liked. That before he was a devotee, before he ever heard about the Hare Krishnas, he was in the university, and he started becoming thoughtful. And he didn't really fit in very well with everybody else. And so one day he was at one of these university parties, and everybody's drinking and smoking, and loud music, and the girls are talking and everything. he didn't feel really part of everything, and he couldn't figure out why. He was sitting over in the corner of the room, kind of lonely. And after a little while, a pretty young girl came and sat down with him and started talking to him, whatever kind of pretty things pretty young girls say, I don't know, about the weather and about music and dress and this or that. And she talked to him for 10 or 15 minutes, and he was just quiet. And then when she finally ran out of things to say, it was kind of his turn socially to say something, he turned to her with sincerity. He said, have you ever thought about death? And when he said that to her, her eyes got big, and she said, you can't talk like that here. You'll spoil the whole party. You'll spoil the whole party. People don't like to deal with reality. They don't like to deal with the fact that we're all going to die. Death rate's 100%. And everyone becomes senile, and everyone faces some really horrible thing, which I'm starting to experience, called old age. And we still have all of our desires and everything, but everything that we desire, we can no longer achieve. And it's very, very humiliating and very, very frustrating. Why is it frustrating? Because we're trying to be something that we're not. And this was the position of Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma, he described to Krishna, it's described to Narad Muni in the Bhagavatamrita. He said that I have this problem. Tanmayayaiva satatam jagatoham guru prabhu. Narad Muni was coming and said, look, Dad, you're the best devotee. You're the very best of all the devotees. And Lord Brahma shook his head and said, no, no, no. Tanmayayaiva satatam. I'm always in Maya. Jagatoham Guru Prabhu. Why? Because Jagatoham Prabhu, Guru Prabhu. I think I'm the Guru, the Prabhu, the controller of the universe. Pitamahash. I'm the grandfather of everyone. And in this way, I'm always an illusion. And it caused me such a big problem because I had this idea of my great position. And one day when someone came and told me that, you know, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has manifested himself on the earth planet in the place known as Vrindavan. I went there to have his darshan secretly. But then I was watching. What kind of God is this? He's eating with the boys. And he has food in his left hand. No kind of decent person keeps prasadam in their left hand, only with their right hand. How can you say this is God? No, this can't be God. It's not possible. I'll test him. You know this story. So he kidnapped the cows. And Krishna told the boys, don't worry, I'll go look for them. And then while Krishna was gone looking for the cows, Lord Brahma kidnapped the boys. And when Krishna came back, he became confused. What's going on? Because by the potency of Yoga Maya, Krishna really didn't recognize that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Brahma went away for one moment of his time. And then after one moment he thought, maybe I made a mistake, I better go and see what's happening. And he came back, and much to his surprise, all the boys and all the cows were still there. But I just kidnapped them, and he became very confused. And we know that Krishna expanded himself as all those cows and cowherd boys. Interestingly, our acharyas described it was that 1 year. It was 1 year on this earth planet, one moment for Lord Brahma. It was during that 1 year that all the gopis got married in Vrindavan. They actually married Krishna. So then Lord Brahma had an attitude adjustment. And he came and he fell down on the ground. He put his head before Lord Krishna. And he said, please forgive me. Dosha kami moadami koroni jadas. I've committed such an offense. I'm such a fool. Please, please forgive me. And Krishna told him, it's okay. Don't worry. You're my friend. I forgive you. And Lord Brahma then said, no, that's not good enough. He said, you see, I have this problem. My problem is I think I'm a big person. And as long as I think I'm a big person, I'm going to suffer like anything. So if you really want to give me a benediction, then let me take birth in a very, very low-class family. And so Krishna said, Tatastu. And so he took birth in a family of Muslims, non-vegetarians. And he became known as a Namacharya Haridas Thakur. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath Puri, he arranged for a place for Haridas Thakur to stay. And Haridas Thakur came there. It's very ironic. He was not allowed inside the Jagannath Mandir. But he's Lord Brahma. And it was Lord Brahma who installed the deity of Jagannath inside the temple. But now he's come in the body of a Muslim. He could have gone to the temple and said, let me in. I'm the guy who did the installation. I'm Lord Brahma. But he didn't do that. He could have gone there and he could have said, I'm the Namacharya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and I, we're like this. We're real tight, you know. You should let me inside. He didn't do that. Rather, he taught us by his behavior, his example. He didn't have any expectations. He didn't demand any respect from anyone. And he showed us by that how we can always chant the holy name. So for a devotee, being insignificant is the greatest kind of happiness. The ecstasy of insignificance. But that comes through understanding reality. Shall I finish with one more story? Is that okay? Would you like a story? Yes? Sir? You. What's your name? Huh? Hasya? Hajya. Ha?
Aditya.
Ha Aditya.
Aditya. Son. Aditya.
Aditya. I'm sorry, I thought you were saying ha. Aditya. My ears are not so good anymore. Aditya, what do you think? Sometimes is it kind of boring coming to classes?
What?
Is it kind of boring coming and sitting in the classes sometimes? You can be honest.
Yeah.
Yes, he's an honest man. That's good. Is it okay if I tell a story then? Just to make up for all the philosophy and verses and stuff like that. It's not very exciting. Is it okay? Would you like a story?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think you know this story. So this is from the Valmiki Ramayana. That on one occasion, Lord Ramachandra, he told Lakshman, go outside and see if everybody's okay, if anybody has any complaints. Lakshman went out, looked around. Anybody have any problems? Nobody said anything. He came back and told Lord Ram, everything's okay. Lord Ram said, go out again. He's a good manager. You should check with everybody at least twice and see, what do you think, the way we're doing things? So he went back out again, and this time there was a voice, yes, I have a complaint. He didn't see who's saying something. And then he looked down and he saw the voice was coming from a dog. Amazing, a dog is talking. Wow. And the dog had a bloody head. And Lakshman said, you have some problem? Yes, I have a complaint. Lakshman said, you come inside. The dog said, I'm a dog. Everybody knows dogs are not allowed inside the temple, not allowed inside the palace of the king. I can't go in. So Lakshman, he said, well, let me ask Lord Ram. So he went to Ram. Ram said, you bring him in. So he brought the dog in, and Lord Ram asked him, so what happened to you? And he said, there's one sannyasi. His name was Sarvarta Siddhi. And this Sarvarta Siddhi, one day, I was sleeping in the road, and this Sarvarta Siddhi came out of his ashram, and for no reason, he started kicking me. And he took a stick and he beat me, and now I'm bleeding, I'm suffering. Lord Ramachandra called for that sannyasi. Hey, come. Did you do this? That Sarvarta Siddhi said, yeah, I was having a bad day. I was in a bad mood, and I came out and I kicked him and I hit him some. It was wrong, I'm sorry. So then Lord Ramachandra, he turned to Vasishta Muni and all of his different wise advisors, and he asked them, what should we do? What kind of punishment should we give to the Brahmin, the sannyasi? And they said, well, you're not supposed to give punishment to a Brahmin because the Brahmins were qualified. You're not supposed to give any punishment to him, or what to speak of a sannyasi. So then Lord Ramachandra said, well, why don't we ask the dog? He asked the dog, what kind of punishment would you like to give him? The dog said, yes, I have a punishment for him. First thing I'd like you to do is take him to the nearby market and get him all new silk clothes, really nice clothes. The Sarvarta Siddhi sannyasi was hearing that. That sounds pretty good. I can deal with that. Huh? Then give him a nice garland, put him on top of an elephant, and have a Shanai band go and take him to the nearby town, and you make him the Mahant, the president, in charge of the temple there. And that Brahmin, Sarvata City, that sannyasi is thinking, yes, very good day. And all the different rishis who were there, they were looking at each other. What is this? I said, it doesn't sound like a punishment. It sounds like a benediction. And Lord Ramachandra, who is Sarvagya, he knows everything. He said, no, it's a punishment. So let's ask the dog. He asked the dog, he said, it seems like you've given a great benediction to the sannyasi. He's really happy by what you said for punishment. Dog said, nope, nope, that's a punishment. Lord Ram said, how? The dog said, you see, in my last life, I was the Mahant in that temple. And I became proud because of my position. I wanted respect from everybody, and I didn't give respect to others. And because of my misfortune, I didn't give proper respect to the devotees in the temple, and I had to take birth as a dog. Now, I was pretty gentle compared to this madman, this Sarvata City. This guy's whacked. He's a complete maniac. He's beating me for no reason. If you give him such a position and all kinds of opulence, who knows what's going to happen to him? So it is a punishment. So we should understand this principle, and this is a basic principle that distinguishes real spiritual life from external religion. Srila Prabhupada came not to give religion, and when we say religion, it can mean many different things, but I'm speaking about something mechanical, something kind of just institutional, something which we just do in an external way. And why do you do it? I don't know. Everybody else does. It makes me feel good. But something spiritual means when we do something for the pleasure of the Lord and for the devotees. It means when we take ourselves out of the forefront. And we're not thinking that I'm the most important person in the world and that everything is meant for my pleasure and the whole world revolves around me. But we start thinking about other people. It's a very, very important principle. And understanding the importance of this principle, Srila Prabhupada helped us in so many ways. And one thing that he did, which is a very powerful thing, is he encouraged all the devotees to go out and do preaching, do book distribution. That activity of preaching, we use that English word, which has a lot of connotations on it from the Christians in the West here. But in India, when you have people who go out to speak about the Lord, it's not like that. There are people who have some realization. Pratyak savagamam dharmam, susukam kartam avyam. They go out and they share their happiness with other people. They don't try to convert people and preach down to them and tell them, you're bad and I'm good, and like that. But Prabhupada wanted devotees to go out and distribute books, even though we may not be qualified. But by doing that, what's required? What happens? And you go out and do that and you face people in parking lots, in their house. It's not an easy thing. And if you go out there, I guarantee you thinking, I'm the most important person that there is. And I'm doing this so that everybody's going to give respect to me in the temple because I'll have the best score or something. If you go out there with that attitude, then Krishna is going to smash you to pieces and you're going to cry and cry. Things will happen to you. I remember once I was at the Santa Monica DMV in Los Angeles area, and I was showing a book to someone and talking to them about it, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a fist coming. And some guy was watching me. I didn't even notice him, but he was watching me. I'd never talked to him or anything. I don't even know if he knew what I was doing. But he just decided I needed a beating. And he walked up behind me and just started punching me and knocked me down on the ground and like that. I was such a fanatic that I just thought to myself, I'm not going to stop. As soon as I spun around, I got up, and the first person I saw, I handed him a book like this. But if we go out and we put ourselves in a situation like that, to try to do something for Srila Prabhupada, to try to do something for the pleasure of Gurudev, for the Vaishnavas, we put ourselves out on a limb, then we make our own ego insignificant. and we think about someone else's pleasure, then we get crushed materially. But spiritually, that becomes our happiness. Just as Kunti Devi, she prays, what is it? Tagvad Visargo? No. Vipada Santu Tasasvat. Tatra Tatra Jagadguru. Bhavato Darshanam Yasara Punar Bhava Darshanam. She said, my dear Krishna, if you really want to give me a benediction, what I would like is problems. Bring them on. More and more problems. Anxieties. Because the more anxieties that I have, the more that I think of you. And the more I think of you, the more happy that I am. The more that I live in reality and understand that I'm not the most important person in this world. But I think about the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. And then I understand my own insignificance. And that's a type of ecstasy. The ecstasy of insignificance. We'll stop there. Any reflections from anybody? Any thoughts about this topic that we're speaking about today? Does it sound doable? Interesting? Okay, just wait a second for questions. First, I'd like to hear reflections. Reflections are also nice for me. It helps me know that somebody wasn't asleep during the talk. Does anybody have any thoughts, anything that appealed to you, that resonated with you? Anything? It's good, then we have some discussion a little bit. Prabhuji?
In one sense, you say hi, but in another sense, I was thinking that devotees try to advertise the movement, and it looks like it's the opposite what you are saying.
Right.
But at the same time, it's the matter of consciousness. You could be, if in that society virtue is hiding, so then people can pretend that they are hiding, but in reality they try to gain some respect by doing this.
And sometimes
the same way, someone is going out and like showing off themselves basically with a consciousness that they try to attract people to Krishna, like doing kirtan in a public, that's like not hiding, but at the same time I would say that
it's paradoxical.
Yes.
Because that's actual real humility. And it's not easy. I remember the first time I went out in Harinam, I was living in a cave before I joined the movement. And when I moved into the Los Angeles temple, I had big leather boots. And I didn't have any other shoes, and they took me out in Harinam. I was wearing a dhoti, had long hair and these big leather boots. And I was kind of dancing in the kirtan. And someone threw an egg and hit me in the head. I remember with the egg. And I didn't know, what do you do if you get hit with it? I just thought I should just ignore it. So I just ignored it and went on. So it's not an easy thing to go out in Harinam, to go out and chant for Krishna, to go out and distribute books or something. It looks like, in one sense, the activity of someone who's very, very proud. Somebody's going out and beating the drum, advertising themselves. But this is just the opposite. It's a paradoxical principle that actually I'm going out to glorify someone else, and this is the height of humility. We can also recognize, you were saying too, is that sometimes as devotees, we want to be recognized as a great devotee, as a great speaker, or as a great kirtaniya. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he sings a really nice thing in Kalyana Kopa Taru. You can sing as you can chant Hare Krishna. Garita chare rohi lama moji nakori sadhu sangha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Loi sadhu besha ani upadeshi eboro mayara ranga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. He says, my dear Lord Hari, Garati Achare, Rohilama Moji, Nakorino Sadhu Sangha. What is my nature? Garita, my behavior is very bad. I'm always doing nonsense things. Nakorino Sadhu Sangha. I never really did sadhu sangha. I just got my picture taken next to Naranjan Maharaj one day. And people give me respect for that. Huh? But na korino sadhu sangha. I've never really done sadhu sangha. I just stood next to him in the picture. And then I show everybody. But what's going on? Loy sadhu vesh, ani upadesh. Here I am with a garland on. Ani upadesh, giving instructions to everybody. He says, Ebodo maya ranga. This is Maya's big joke. We should remember this. Because we've seen even in our own movement, devotees have this difficulty sometimes of looking for some position, either in a subtle way or in a gross way. Sometimes someone wants to be well known as the housewife who does all the cooking and is the best of devotees. And maybe we're very fanatical. We don't really treat our husband very well or our children, and we just want to be recognized as a great devotee. Or maybe we're living in the temple. Maybe we're trying to be a big brahmachari, a big book distributor, famous in some way for bhakti. And this is not going to be successful. It's a contradictory thing. We're not doing it for Krishna's pleasure. We're doing it for me. It's a nice comment. Thank you, Prabhu. Anything else from anybody? Beam, Prabhu?
You had mentioned the Christian perception of humility, and Christ had spoken, his disciples came amongst the 12 disciples, and they said, Dear Lord Christ, in heaven, who amongst us will sit at your right hand? Who will be first amongst us?
Who's going to be the man?
Who's going to be the man? And Christ said that in heaven, the first will be last, and the last will be first. So he made it quite clear. They think themselves das anudas, servant of a servant. Last in line will be first in God's eyes.
My Guru Maharaj put it another way too. He said, always look out for the backbenchers. The people who are sitting in the back of things that nobody pays much attention to. Like one young man came to the San Francisco temple in the late 60s. And he's a hippie, he's taking prasadam there. And he wanted to do some service. So they said, well, you go help, somebody pointed him out, you go help that guy over there. He went over to the guy over there, wasn't a devotee. He was wearing Levi's and some old beat up things. And the guy said, yeah, come. He said, I'm the garbage man here. Spent the whole day with that person. And the whole day that garbage man was just talking about Krishna in such an ecstatic way that young man thought, wow, if this is a garbage man, I want to become a devotee. The garbage man was Jayananda Prabhu. And he didn't know he was a temple president. He said, I'm the garbage man. Really the same principle. Okay. Anything else, anybody? You had a question?
Yeah, but it was kind of already answered, but Prabhu mentioned that, so what's the difference between acting to show off your advancement and being exemplary, preach by example, or try to be a representative of your guru, like that, by your behavior? What's the difference?
Sometimes we think that oh, I'm so humble. Gurudev tells me I should give class. Gurudev, I'm too humble. I can't do that, I'm sorry. We think that means humility. That's not humility. Humility means whatever my Gurudev says to do, I'll do that. We were just telling a story in Hartford a few days ago. Naranjan Maharaj came to the katha we were doing, and I gave an example of what was happening. I said, just like once, there was a young man in South India. He approached Ramanujacharya, and he said, Maharaj, please accept me as your disciple. And he's from a nice Brahmin family, that young boy. And Ramanuja said, okay, I'll give you initiation. He said, now you have to do some service. Yes, Guru Maharaj, what service should I do? He said, I want you to come every day and let me wash your feet and drink the water. Okay? And so he was doing it, letting his guru wash his feet and drink the water every day. That was his service. And one day Ramanuja was out preaching some program, and he came back late, and he saw that brahmachari was there outside the ashram. He said, hey, what are you doing? It's late at night, you should be taking rest. The brahmachari said, Guru Maharaj, I haven't done my service yet today. That's real humility. If Guru says we speak, Gurudev says we dance, Gurudev says you do this service, you do that thing. We go out and we do that. We don't have any consideration for ourselves. But false humility means when we're putting on a show. As one person used to like to say, we often say, Prabhuji, please accept my obeisances and forgive me for my offenses. To point out perhaps how sometimes we say that in a superficial way, he flipped it around. He said, please forgive me for my obeisances and accept my offenses. Like that. So we should think about what we're doing. And we should do that for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. That's really where bhakti begins. We have some sukriti that we're getting. Prabhupada, he was speaking in one conversation about a sannyasi. Initiated sannyasi devotee had been preaching for so long, and this devotee had fallen down and gone away. And Prabhupada told someone, well, anyway, he got some sukriti, some agyata sukriti. I'm reading thinking, what? He got some agyata sukriti? It means unknowing benefit. He got unknowing benefit. He was a sannyasi. He was initiated by Prabhupada. He was doing so much service. And Prabhupada used that phrase a few times in a similar way. He said the same thing about the children, sometimes who are dancing in the kirtan and reciting verses and doing. Prabhupada said they're getting some agyata sukriti. If you study what Jiva Goswami says in Bhakti Sandarbha about the difference in gyata sukriti and agyata sukriti, or unknowing benefit, agyata sukriti, and knowing benefit, it gives us a clue. We may be doing something in a mechanical kind of way and have a vague idea that this is something beneficial, but really that's agyata, because we don't really understand what we're doing. When we really begin to understand what we're doing, it becomes gyata sukriti, some knowing benefit. Not just that I'm doing it because I want to be famous, I want to be appreciated by the devotees. So it's an important distinction. Is that okay? Okay. Anything else, sister? You want to add anything?
One point that there are two people who, not in disguise, but they might be old, or they, just like the story of Tulsidas, the old man, Hanumanji was there. So in our movement, we sometimes see, like as you say, some drug addicts, psychedelics, like who come to the temple, or maybe somebody, I don't know who's psycho, he comes to the temple, and then how do we deal with them? Like, do we, what kind of consciousness we should have? Because at one side we know that our philosophy tells that, okay, everybody, we should look them as a soul, and we should respect them. We don't know in what way a personality may come to our temple. But in other sense, we also have to see this aspect that we also have to protect our temple and the devotees. So how do we reconcile this? How do we deal with this situation?
First, I'd like to tell you a little story. We were, at one point in our movement, we were doing collection. Not the best thing, Beam understands. And we'd gone to Las Vegas, and we'd collected a huge amount of change, coins. And it's always a problem. How are you going to cash those in? I mean, like huge amounts of coins. You go to the bank, they won't do it. And then, so we figured out an easy way. You go to the casino, because they have these machines and coins are coming out of the machine, and they don't know. So we would just go there and stand in line of the thing and give the guy coins. And so we're standing in this place. It's dark, darkly lit, kind of a red room. There's people gambling everywhere, people drinking alcohol. There's prostitutes walking around, everyone smoking cigarettes. And we've got hats on and Western clothes. And all of a sudden some guy, a security man, comes up to us and says, "Excuse me, are you Hare Krishna devotees?" And we're trying to be low profile. And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Really? You know, I used to live in the Toronto temple. It's so good to see you guys, man." And I was so astonished. Here in that place, which to me was just like hell, here was someone who was a former devotee. So we don't know. It's a fact, who's a devotee and who's not a devotee. We can't judge. But at the same time, we have to protect the devotees. We have to protect the temple. Srila Prabhupada in the Bhagavatam, he gives a very stern injunction in the 7th canto. He said that our temples are not the places for lazy or crazy people. Rather, people should be vetted. If someone wants to come and live in the temple, we'd like to know, what do you do? What is your background? What are you like? Were you a child molester before? What kind of behavior do you have? Find something out about them before we just let them come. And if someone comes and they're a bit of a crazy person, then we have to see. Someone told me recently, who was it that said that? I think it was Puri Mohan Prabhu. He said that in New York, they just wouldn't let them in. But on the West Coast, what they finally started doing, in California, the LA Temple, they started charging money at the Sunday Feast program because you'd have all kinds of street people coming in. And Puri Mohan asked somebody on the West Coast, said, why don't you just tell them you can't come in? He said, no, this is California, you can't do that. California is a very liberal place. On the East Coast, you can do that. You're not allowed. So they just started charging money, and then it weeded out the crazy people who wanted to come for free. So we saw that recently in Hartford also. There was some person who was coming, had about 10 different crosses around his neck, and he wanted to start grabbing the women and things. And Puri Mahaprabhu was okay with him until he started causing a problem. And then he said, I'm sorry, you have to go. And then the man started screaming at us and made a big scene and whatever. What can you do? This is life on the front lines. You know, it's like that. I remember once in the Los Angeles temple, I was in charge of the brahmacharya ashram. And I woke up one morning and somebody came and told me there's some bum sleeping in the prasadam hall in the brahmacharya ashram. And so I went down there, some street person, I don't know how he got in. I said, woke him up, said, man, you got to go. And he left, and I didn't think anything more about it. He went to Mangal Artik. I didn't know it. And during Mangal Artik, he started grabbing one of the women and pulling on him. Unfortunately for him, that lady, her husband was a truck driver who used to bench press 300 pounds. Prabhupada, he was Prabhupada's bodyguard for a while. And she went crying to her husband, and anyway, he got beaten up very badly by that thing. It happens sometimes in temples. What can you do? We want to help everybody. We want to give them prasadam. Sometimes it's better we just tell them we have another program called Food for Life. If you have a Food for Life program? You what?
We kind of give. Some people just go and give the food to them.
So that's good. You can also, if they just smell too bad, or you just tell them, look, I'm really sorry, you know, we have to take a bath. Or if they're crazy, they just have to tell them to go. Or maybe even call the police. What can you do? It's been a problem forever and ever, Prabhuji. I don't think there's any easy solutions for it.
No, I understand, but because of the devotionals
Devotionally, it's not your lookout, because you're doing this on behalf of Prabhupada. If you let someone come in and you say, anyway, he's a spirit soul, everybody's a devotee, I should give respect, and he goes over and starts hurting some of the children or breaking something in the temple or something, then you're doing an offense. It's your responsibility. You have to take care of the temple there. So you have to learn how to do it in a way that doesn't offend people, and hopefully other congregation members, other people, and at the same time can protect things. It's not easy. You have my sympathy. Anything else?
I had a question.
Yes, Prabhu.
In one of the Bhagavad Gita verses, you mentioned Susukam.
Who to come?
Susukam.
Susukam.
Right?
Susukam kartamavya.
Yeah. Like in your discussion, in one of the verses, in the second line, you mentioned Susukam. Right? So, and we described it as happiness. So, Sukam means happiness.
So what is the difference in Sukam and Susukam?
Yeah. So there should be some significance. Right?
Yes, there is some significance. In the third canto of the Bhagavatam, Kapila Dev, Satam Prasangam, he says Prasangam.
Yes.
A similar thing. Susukam, Prasangam. Sangam, what's the difference between Susukam and Sukam, or Prasangam and Sangam? He says that Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he says that we should do satam sangha, we should do satsanga. But what is the difference between satsanga and prasanga? Satsanga means we're religious, we chant our rounds, we give donations to the temple, we're a good person, we're honest, we do this and that. But prasanga means that we're hearing topics directly about Krishna. So sukh means happiness. So then what is susukh? Susukh means happiness of Krishna consciousness. That's in another category. Okay? All right, I think they're starting to serve up prasadam.